Telegram CEO Pavel Durov is facing criminal charges in France. Durov is now under formal investigation by French authorities due to serious concerns about illegal activities taking place on his platform. Durov, the Russian-born millionaire who also holds French citizenship, was detained upon landing in Paris last Saturday and later released on bail after paying a $5.6 million deposit. Telegram is a cloud-based encrypted messaging app known for its commitment to user privacy. Pavel Durov, often referred to as Russia's Mark Zuckerberg, has faced various challenges in the past from governments around the world due to Telegram's refusal to comply with requests for user data or to shut down certain channels. The Russian government banned the Telegram app in 2018 following its reluctance to cooperate in combating terrorism-related activities on the platform. It was only after Durov's assurance to comply that the app was reinstated in Russia in 2020. The ongoing French investigation, however, is focused on criminal cases that involve the exchange of child sexual abuse material, drug trafficking, fraud, terrorism, and other illicit activities through Telegram. The French prosecutor's office has raised concerns about the app's role in facilitating these activities by not providing information requested by authorities. The case against Durov has drawn the ire of tech giants like Elon Musk, who are calling for his release, while sparking a broader discussion about the accountability of social media platforms in curbing illegal content while preserving freedom of speech. Durov's legal team has vehemently denied the accusations, maintaining that Telegram operates within European regulations and that it is unreasonable to hold the platform or its owner responsible for the actions of its users. Telegram has previously come under fire for its role in spreading far-right extremism and conspiracy theories as well. On January 6, 2021, during the Capitol riot in the United States, groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers used Telegram to organize and share extremist content. The platform also became a refuge for QAnon after the conspiracy theory movement was banned from other social media. Critics, including civil rights groups, argue that Durov's hands-off approach allows dangerous content to thrive on Telegram. But the problem is not limited to Telegram. Over the years, fundamentalism and propaganda have thrived on social networking sites. As of July 2024, around 5.2 billion people are using social media, accounting for nearly 65% of the world's population. Facebook alone boasts over 3 billion monthly active users, making it the largest social networking site worldwide. YouTube follows close behind, with around 2.5 billion users, while some 1.5 billion people are active on TikTok. As social media becomes more and more pervasive in our lives, concerns regarding the regulation of content, data privacy, hate speech, and freedom of speech are increasingly voiced by different quarters of society. You might remember the Cambridge Analytica scandal of 2018, which brought to the fore the very real impact of these platforms on electoral politics. Cambridge Analytica, a political consulting firm, designed a Facebook app to cultivate the psychological profiles of some 87 million users that were later used to hit them with targeted ads in order to sway the results of the US presidential elections in 2016. Although Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook and Instagram, assured the public that Facebook was clamping down on data breaches through the app, new controversies continued to emerge. A United Nations report in 2018 found that Facebook served as a useful instrument for spreading hate speech during the genocide of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar in 2017. Rohingya are a Muslim ethnic minority in Myanmar's Rakhine state and have faced decades of persecution by the government, who has labeled them as illegal migrants from Bangladesh. A widespread bout of violence swept the Rakhine state in August 2017, when dozens of Rohingya villages were burned to the ground. The United Nations found out that social media sites like Facebook were actively used by extremist groups, not only to spread racial hatred against the Rohingyas, but to organize terror attacks against the community.
But it's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well. And that goes for fake news, foreign interference in elections, and hate speech, as well as developers and data privacy. We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility
Experts have drawn connections between the spread of extremist ideologies on social media and the increase in hate crimes. Take this paper, for instance. The research finds that a strong connection exists between anti-immigrant sentiment on Facebook and violence against refugees. The authors also argue that social media can act as a propagation mechanism for violent crimes by enabling the spread of extreme viewpoints. Extremist groups are increasingly using social media to connect and recruit new members, making platforms like Telegram a hotspot for radicalization. The Islamic State, ISIS, has been found to use Telegram to spread their message and raise funds. Channels like Whispers of the Forgotten use shocking content about atrocities to draw in followers and then direct them to more radical material. ISIS primarily operates on encrypted networks like Telegram and Rocket Chat. Twitter has faced similar concerns related to content moderation since Elon Musk took over and rebranded the platform as X in 2022. Musk vowed to push back on content regulation, starting with the reinstatement of the former U.S. President Donald Trump's account, affirming his commitment to free speech. But the line between free speech and hate speech is not so fine. While many democracies and international treaties protect free speech, certain restrictions exist to prevent hate speech. For example, the United States protects free speech under the First Amendment. But a 1969 ruling of the U.S. Supreme Court states that speech that directly incites imminent violence is not protected. The UK's Public Order Act 1986, similarly, criminalizes speech that incites racial hatred. But what about the laws restraining hate speech on social networking sites? Given the global reach and impact of these platforms, governments and regulatory bodies are struggling to effectively oversee their operations. This is also tricky, in part because apps like Telegram have refused to share data on users, including those potentially linked to extremist activities, in the past. Several regulations, however, have been proposed and implemented to regulate social platforms during the last couple of years. The European Union's Code of Conduct on Countering Illegal Hate Speech Online, established in May 2016, involved major tech companies such as Facebook, Microsoft, Twitter, and YouTube, and has since been joined by other platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and LinkedIn. The code sets out the framework for social networking sites to follow in order to more effectively monitor hate speech. The most recent legislation on social media regulation by the EU, the Digital Services Act, DSA, requires platforms to remove illegal content within specific timeframes, ensure transparent content moderation processes, and provide users with clear instructions for content appeal.
Well, I think now in all European countries, now you have legislation saying that hate speech is forbidden. But you don't really have a mechanism to make sure that this is true. So now the Digital Services Act will ask every platform to have a system, to deal with what is illegal, to take it down.
Platforms designated as very large, with over 45 million monthly active users in the EU, face additional obligations, including annual risk assessments and measures to address systemic risks like misinformation and privacy breaches. Telegram has evaded DSA requirements due to its self-reported number of users, which fall short of the 45 million mark. The EU, however, doubts these numbers and is recently investigating the claim. The scrutiny surrounding Telegram's compliance with DSA will only add to Pavel Durov's legal troubles, who's barred from leaving France. The French President Emmanuel Macron has clarified that the probe against Durov is not politically motivated, but rather part of an ongoing judicial investigation. As the investigation continues, Durov remains in France, obligated to check in with the police twice a week.